Yo, what's going on, homies? It's your boy Stump back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're talking PvP and Stump's top 5 favorite PvP teams in the game right now. With the 10th anniversary way back in, April, and now balls deep into August over in the One Piece Day celebration, we've had a lot of shifts to the meta, a lot of changes in characters, and a lot of Super Sugo Fests added to the game. And with this comes a lot of very strong PvP characters. On top of that, we've had a whole bunch of new treasure map legends, Kazuna legends, PvP rare recruits as well. And in today's video, I thought I would give you guys my top 5 teams for the PvP game mode. Now, these particular teams are basically like my favorite to run, but I still equate like the strength of them to be very high. And that's one of the big reasons why they're my favorite teams. So, these might not be the exact meta teams, but make sure to hit the bell notification, because once we finish the One Piece Day celebration, after the Kazuna, when we get the last Super Sugo, Shanks vs. Kid incoming, I have a big feeling, then we'll be doing our tier list video, we'll be doing our meta guide teams, and then we'll be doing our actual top 5 strongest teams in the game. But let me know in the comment section below what your top 5 teams are in PvP. Belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on the future PvP stuff and all the other OPTC content coming on the channel. But most importantly, enjoy the video and let's dive in. Before we start, I do want to give some honorable mentions, and the first honorable mention I want to give to is the Powerhouse team. With the release of Kuzen and Blackbeard, this particular team moves very, very quickly, obviously funneling into stuff like Strength Luffy and having cooldowns from Cracker, and then the new level limit break of Pell makes this team go absolutely nuts. Shout out to AF Gao, I believe he's the first one that, or Go, however you say it, apologies if I mispronounced that. He's the one that posted this video, this team initially. It works really, really well. It flies, it goes so damn fast, and it's a lot of fun to run. The next team I want to give an honorable mention to is the Shooter team. Shooters are just so much fun. I recently just recorded a showcase video of the Shooter team. Make sure to go check that out if you want to check it out. But obviously with the release of S-Bear, makes shooters go to the goddamn moon, and then with the new Frankie as well, you can do some really, really fun stuff. Plus, we got the release of 6+ Akainu, and he is now a 20 cost legend, so he works great. This team is exceptional, it's a lot of fun to use, and it can take down some of the bigger name teams. The final team I want to give an honorable mention to is the Psy team. I have a lot of fun with Psy just because I like chopping and changing stuff so much. As you can see, they have like so many PvP rare recruits and legends that you can just build out such a disgusting bench. Using like 9.5 anniversary Shanks on the bench is absolutely nuts. And with the release of 6+ Law, you just can do amazing things against Driven and Powerhouse characters. Taking down characters like S-Hawk is very easy. With Law, plus then if you want to bring in stuff like Sanji or Jin, you can do some fun stuff there. And then with the release of the new Law, you can make it very striker-centric. Stereotypically though, this is more of the side build that I like to run. It does use the new S-Bear as well, which is why I like it so much. And then utilizing stuff like Gear 5 on the bench, which is just absolutely bonkers to have a character of that caliber on your bench. Starting it off with my number 5 team, we're going to talk about the Quick team. Now, with the release of the new Verse Luffy, the Quick team did get a much-needed buff. It still does revolve around that whole driven and slasher meta, utilizing characters like Cross Guild, using characters like Roger and Odin to get cooldown reduction, special rollback, and all that fun stuff. But with the release of the new Luffy, he can actually be another character that gives like a 50% cooldown to the character with your lowest CD. So the idea of this particular team, you use a character like Tesoro to build up your cooldown reductions. Luffy can also give cooldown reductions in his special, but the idea, like I said, is to get Cross Guild and Smoothie to go off very, very quickly. Have a character like Roger and Odin build up both Smoothie and then Cross Guild, and then have Luffy go in the first 50 seconds, give the 50% cooldown back to Roger and Odin, and that way you've just got this really nice cycle of Smoothie and Cross Guild rolling back specials, Roger and Odin giving them back their cooldowns, Luffy then giving cooldowns, and then in the last 50 seconds, Luffy can give these characters haste for whatever's sort of left standing. Now, this team is my number 5 team, mainly because I do find it quite wonky, and it doesn't always go exactly the way that I just explained it. Sometimes you don't have Smoothie go first, sometimes you don't have S-Hawk go, Cross Guild go first. Sometimes you might have like Smoothie go or Cross Guild go, and then all of a sudden Luffy's ready to go. And it can just be a bit weird and wonky in that regard. It's a lot of fun over in Grand Party as well, and when it does work, it does work. Another downside to this particular team is the bench. The bench doesn't really have that much room to move. and nor is it very, very strong. Like, Conjuro's quite good in the back end of a fight. He can still buff Roger and Odin because he's a striker character, and then obviously the driven units of Cross Guild and Tesoro. But Shiryu and King especially, they don't really provide that much off the bench. King has to be here because he's a driven slasher. Shiryu has to be here because he's a driven slasher. And that way you have the 5 slashers and the 5 driven characters for Cross Guild and Roger and Odin. Luffy's absolutely exceptional though. I definitely think he needs to be over on the Quick team. And moving forward, I do think that Quick could see some improvement very, very quickly with some new characters that make them quite strong. The counterpart to Luffy is versus Kaido. And in my number 4 team, I actually have the Dex team. Dex has been creeping up and up and up. It's been getting so many buffs lately. And finally, it has cracked a top 5 team. Even before the release of versus Kaido, I do think that it was in the sort of top 5 echelons. Probably sitting around that 5th slot. But now with the release of Kaido, it definitely jumps its way up into the top 4. With the release of Frankie being a powerhouse character as well, and then the 6+ of Lucci being a powerhouse character as well, you can funnel in 5 shooter characters, as well as having a very powerhouse-centric build to use characters like Pell to give cooldown reduction, to use characters like Ace and his cooldown reduction as well, and do some nice stuff. Ace is like one of the biggest hitters on this team. If you don't have Ace on this team, it doesn't really function all that well, but like I said, with Frankie in the front lines, lowering defense, going through defense, Kaido going through defense as well, Lucci just absolutely demolishing any quick character, lowering defense again, this team hits so hard because you're just lowering everyone's defense. Pell's level limit break, or his level limit break buff just makes him so damn good. He can take out units left, right, and center, and if he goes after you've dropped all this defense, he hits so damn hard. And he hits 2 units now too. Like he hits 2 units, which is absolutely busted. Sorry, I knocked my keyboard there. We lost the infograph. But he goes absolutely crazy. The downside to this particular team is you do have to bring 5 shooter characters. Now with Ace, Frankie, and Lucci, you've pretty much got the front line sorted. It's not too hard to do. With the release of the new S-Bear, you can just throw him on the bench, being a 20 cost unit. And then the release of the new 6+ Akainu also works very, very well because he can just buff Dex characters as well. The Dex team's not really buffing him as much, but what he brings at the back end of a fight, it's just a little bit better than running something like Kizaru, for example, because remember, this slot has to be taken up by a shooter character. Finally, the last character is Garp. You don't have to run PvP Garp, but he's definitely the best option. You need a Garp or a Luffy to trigger, or a Sabo, to trigger the Ace passive, and because of versus Kaido, you actually can't bring a Luffy here. Massive problem with the unit, but you do have, obviously, PvP Garp, 20 cost unit, or you have the free-to-play Kizuna 5+ Garp. You could just throw on here, call it a day, because Garp is not a shooter character. He's not here to satisfy that condition. You can always use like a 1-cost Sabo as well. There might be like a shooter Sabo that's a low cost that you could satisfy here too, if you are missing some of these other units. But this team, it's very, very strong. It's very, very good. Its bench is not the strongest, but it still can work very, very nicely. The downside to it, obviously, is that you need to bring 5 shooter characters. Now, if you don't have Frankie, Big Mom is just a great like sub-in, and it can still make this team very, very good. And then you're sort of looking more towards sort of the powerhouse build, but Ace is just a character that has to come. In number 3, we have the Strength team. And look, Strength is just still a great team to just go to when you're versing absolutely anything. Unless it's like a quick team that's designed to sort of take them down with stuff like Jinbei and whatnot. Strength, 9 times out of 10, are just going to be a great option versing lots and lots of things. Now, the idea of having a very fighter-centric front is to use characters like Kobe and Sanji to give cooldowns and funnel into the big dog that is Gear 5, 6+ Luffy. No, 6+, sorry. Gear 5 Strength. Film Red Luffy. He hits so damn hard. You guys know him, you love him. You know how good this particular character is. And obviously with all these strength characters working in synergy, he works exceptionally well. The bulk we have is through Blackbeard, but he's very replaceable with something like Jack. His 6+ and his level limit breaks very, very good. Also a fighter character, so he gets a lot of cooldowns. Goes very quickly and very, very fast. You can even use Blackbeard with Jack over something like Ace. Ace is another really good bulky character, but I really like running Ace because he's immune to stuff like halve stats, and he can do a lot of damage output as well. He also provides a lot of bulk just being a team booster, but you do need him 6+, and you need to have, I believe, level limit break 2 to get all of his PvP passives. But don't stress, if you don't have him, you can just run Jack there, and that's going to work out fine. As for the bench, you've got some pretty big boppers here. We have the PvP Rare Recruit King as the far end. being the fighter-centric team that this is. We have Kuma being a 20-cost legend now is absolutely broken. And obviously with the release of 6+ Akainu, another 20-cost legend that can do absolute dividends. This team works exceptionally well. It's very, very strong, and I do love running it. It does struggle against stuff like your bigger slasher teams and whatnot nowadays. But look, this team was once upon a time just sort of going absolutely AWOL against everything and anything, and it still has that ability to do so. And it's a very, very good team, or uses one of the best units in the game, being Luffy. It's hard to put a team that has the best PvP legend in the game not in the top 3. In slot number 2, we have the Int team, or the Int-centric team, I should say, because there is a very interesting character that has found its way onto this team, being Nami and Karina. And I'll touch on that in a second. Definitely replaceable, but a lot of fun to run, and this particular team works against basically everything under the sun. The only thing it doesn't really work that well against is obviously an anti-Int team. This team just, it's so much fun to run Blackbeard. At first, he wasn't like impressing me too much, but once I sort of got a gist for what he was doing and building out teams that kind of work in synergy with the character, man, he can do some crazy ass things. He has a level 10 dot damage, which is the highest we've seen, and this is like 7,000 to 8,000 damage on dot. Like, it's bonkers. It's crazy to see that a character that literally doesn't buff a team works so well on the team and just do absolutely amazing things. On top of that, we have S-Hawk, who's easily the top 3. I would say probably the second best PvP unit in the game. Easy to have him in the front lines, even though he's buffing slashes. He's still buffing int. And then having the new Orin Yamato. Yamato and Blackbeard together provide so much debuffing, and then you have Nami Karina to roll back specials, apply more level 4 defense down, and then have just S-Hawk and Luffy just demolishing everything in their path. Like, they hit so damn hard that you literally don't need anything else when it comes to damage. Luffy also has Forced Out when you go up against free spirit characters, which can be littered basically anywhere in most teams, so you will see some value there. But he goes absolutely AWOL when it comes to taking down regular units with his massive damage too. I do have him at level 150 as well, so he just goes absolutely crazy. Now, as for Nami Karina, they actually buff the entire team, but they don't really get that many buffs from everyone. However, they do get a buff from Yamato. Yamato buffs int and cerebral characters, so this Yamato is actually funneling into Nami Karina. Plus, Blackbeard's not buffing the team anyway, so you don't have to worry about that one unit regardless. Nami Karina's sole role here is just to roll back specials. Plus, they do give a nice little passive to everyone, being a team booster, but that special rollback is so damn key to just allow Blackbeard's dot damage, allow Yamato to keep nerfing, and then just allow Luffy and S-Hawk to go crazy. Now, it's not foolproof. Obviously, you do have some crazier slasher teams and strength teams that can kind of take this fight down. Plus, as I mentioned, the anti-int team with like Wano Law, Sanji, and Jin are going to go crazy against this, being like very powerhouse and driven-centric. But when that happens, you just sub out Nami Karina and put on something like a Pooh. And then you're absolutely cooking. And it works very, very well. The bench is very strong. You have Broly, Dory, and Pell, who are all absolutely exceptional units. Pell comes in to buff powerhouse characters. And as long as you have 5 powerhouse characters on the team, which you do because of Blackbeard, and then Luffy, and then your 3 bench characters, you just get all and everything going for you. It's a lot of fun. You can use other characters like Moria over Nami Karina for some hard stats too, if you wanted to make this like a traditional int team. But I have found just like Nami Karina just thrown on this team works so damn well. Finally, we have my GOATs. The number 1 team for myself is the Slasher team. Remember, this is my favorite teams to run. Slashers are starting to fall off a little bit, but in my eyes, I still think that they do hold the candid for the best team in the game. Now, recently I pulled Brook off the PvP banner with S-Bear. Very, very happy about that, because I can finally run the Slasher team that I always wanted to run, and I've been having so much fun with it. You have so much damage output with like the top 2 of 3 best damage dealers in S-Hawk and Roger Whitebeard. Shanks is giving cooldowns, he's giving shields, he's doing a lot of stuff with his passive, and you have Odin for cooldown reduction, and then the cheeky shenanigans that Zoro and Sanji can provide. Now, this team for me, it obviously is very heavily invested. It hits really hard, and there's not a lot of things that can take it down. Plus, you have a lot of versatility with taking stuff like Shanks off, putting on like Cracker for more CD reduction, or moving characters like Odin out for Cracker if you are going up against Gear 5 Luffy's and you want to remove some free spirit characters. The bench is so damn strong. Brook is an absolute fantastic PvP rare recruit. Cap Viper, as long as you have 5 in characters, works four in characters works exceptionally well. So you can do some really, really nice stuff with him with fixed damage. And then Shiki is great because slashes are kind of everywhere. And if you are running into a slasher versus slasher meta, Shiki coming in off the bench can actually do some really, really nice things. You have options like Dory and Brogy and other int slasher characters as well, but he just works so damn nicely. This particular team has been my favorite for a very long time. It has a Shanks on it too, so like I'm obviously going to be a little bit biased there, but like it moves very fast, it hits very hard, and there's not a lot of teams that can take it down, making it my number one team. But that's going to wrap up the video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If you did, put the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. Most importantly, whether you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you all for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one.